Oscar had been alone on Kepler 442b for 7 years. The mining colony had died slowly, like everything else on this forsaken rock. First the veins ran dry, then the supply ships stopped coming. Then the colonists left one by one on whatever transport they could afford. Oscar stayed because he had nowhere else to go. Earth was a memory he'd rather forget, and the stars offered nothing but more emptiness. He'd converted the old command center into something resembling a home. Solar panels kept the lights on. Hydroponics gave him enough to eat. The settlement's library kept his mind from completely rotting away. It was a life, if barely. The knock came on a Tuesday, though Tuesday meant nothing this far from Seoul. Oscar stared at the door's monitor, convinced his isolation had finally driven him mad. 3 figures stood outside in environment suits, their silhouettes backlit by Kepler 442b's dim red sun. The suits were sleek, military-grade, nothing like the bulky mining gear gathering dust in his storage bay. His hand hovered over the intercom. "This is private property. State your business." The lead figure removed her helmet, and Oscar's breath caught. She was Varanthi, one of the apex predator species that had nearly wiped out humanity 20 years ago during the border wars. 7 feet tall, with silver-gray skin marked by hunter's scars, and eyes that glowed amber in the thin light. Her kind had killed millions before the ceasefire. Oscar Chen. Her voice carried the distinctive purr of her species. "We need to speak with you. It's about your children." Oscar laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. "I don't have children. Wrong address." "We know you were part of the Horizon Project," the Varanthi said. "We know about the genetic samples you donated before the war, and we know what the Coalition did with them." His blood turned to ice. The Horizon Project. He'd been young, idealistic, desperate for credits. They'd told him it was for medical research, that his genetic material would help develop treatments for radiation exposure. He'd signed the papers, taken the money, and tried to forget about it. "Let us in," she continued, "or we will explain everything through this door, and you will wish you'd shown us the courtesy of privacy." Against every instinct, Oscar cycled the airlock. The 3 Varanthi entered his habitat, their presence making the spacious command center feel claustrophobic. The leader removed her gloves, revealing clawed hands that could tear through steel. The other 2 flanked her, younger, equally dangerous, their hands never far from the weapons at their hips. "My name is Daisy," the leader said, and Oscar almost laughed again at the absurdly human name coming from a creature designed for warfare. "These are my pack sisters, Kara and Zine. We are what your people call hybrid hunters. The Coalition created us during the final years of the war," Daisy continued, settling into a chair that groaned under her weight. "They took genetic material from both species, Varanthi and human. They wanted soldiers who combined your adaptability with our strength. They made thousands of us." Oscar felt sick. The ceasefire accords banned bioweapons research. The research began before the accords. After the war ended, the Coalition had a problem: thousands of hybrid children, half human and half Varanthi, who weren't supposed to exist. Daisy's amber eyes fixed on him with unsettling intensity. "They told us our human donors were dead. They raised us as weapons, trained us to hunt insurgents and pirates in the outer systems. We were tools, nothing more. Why are you here?" Oscar's voice came out as a whisper. Kara stepped forward, pulling out a datapad. "Because we found the donor records. Because we traced our lineage. Because ... She paused, her expression softening in a way that looked strange on a Varanthi face. "You're my father, biologically at least." The room spun. Oscar gripped the edge of his desk. "How many?" 47, Daisy said quietly. "You have 47 biological children scattered across Coalition space. We've found 23 of them, all hybrids, all lied to, all told their human parents abandoned them or were killed." "I didn't know," Oscar said, and hated how weak it sounded. "I swear I didn't know." "We believe you," Daisy said. "The project was classified at the highest levels, but now we know the truth, and we face a choice." Zine spoke for the first time, her voice younger but carrying the same dangerous edge. "Some of our siblings want revenge against humans, against you specifically. They say you sold us into slavery for credits. But others," Daisy interrupted, shooting Zine a warning look, "want something different. We want to understand where we came from, who we are. The Varanthi raised us, but we're not fully Varanthi. We carry human DNA, human traits, human instincts we don't fully comprehend." Oscar looked at them, these impossible beings who shared his genes, who existed because of a choice he'd made a lifetime ago. They were predators, warriors, designed for violence. But in Daisy's eyes, he saw something achingly familiar, the desperate need to belong somewhere. "What do you want from me?" he asked. "Nothing," Daisy said. We wanted you to know we exist. That you're not alone out here, even if you choose to be. That somewhere in the galaxy, there are 47 beings who carry part of you in their blood. She stood, towering over him. Some of us may come looking for you. Some may want answers. Some may want family. Her lips pulled back in what might have been a smile. And some may want nothing at all. But you deserve to know the truth, even if it came too late. They moved toward the airlock, and Oscar found himself standing. Wait, Daisy turned. Will you come back? The words felt absurd even as he spoke them. I know I'm not really your father. I know I don't deserve your right, Daisy said. You're not our father. We've never needed one. She paused at the threshold. But perhaps we could use an ally. Someone who understands both sides of what we are. Someone who might help us find the others. She reached into her pack and placed a communicator on his desk. If you want to help us reunite our siblings, to give them the choice we never had, signal us. We leave in 3 cycles. Then they were gone, leaving Oscar alone with the weight of 47 lives he never knew he'd created, and a choice that would define whatever remained of his own. He picked up the communicator, its metal warm against his palm, and looked out at the dead world that had been his refuge. Maybe it was time to stop running from his past. Maybe it was time to face what he'd helped create. Maybe it was time to discover that humanity's greatest strength wasn't weapons or technology. It was the stubborn refusal to abandon those who carried even the fragment of what made them human. Oscar pressed the activation button. Daisy, he said into the void. I'm coming with you. The end.